despite the challenges they are already facing. Jason Jones actually live at the border wall in Mission, Texas, with details. We see that wall behind you. Jason, good morning.
Sean, Emma, good morning. It's good to be with you. You know, as Title 42 is set to end tomorrow, the men and women of the Texas Department of Public Safety and U.S. Border Patrol, I can tell you, down here in Mission, Texas, are extremely busy. And this morning, as soon as we got in these vehicles, we were out off and trying to apprehend 2 individuals. And I want you to look at this video here, because one of the 2, these same officers have arrested twice just this week. He's a smuggler, and he's usually charged anywhere from $200 to $500 per person to be brought into the United States. And as we had just taken him into custody, they got a call that 7 more were crossing because a cartel drone had crossed from the Mexico side onto the U.S. side, and then from that, these 7 individuals crossed into the U.S. From there, we responded and watched as Border Patrol and Texas Department of Public Safety's elite brush teams then chase these individuals down. And you can see as Lieutenant Olivetis even caught one of the individuals who ran into a field here. But it's an example of how busy things have been. Now, I want to stress this, Sean. It's very important. Over the next few days, news agencies across this country are going to be really focused on big groups. Those are family units turning themselves in, coming from Mexico into the U.S., and we'll see hundreds and hundreds of these. But what these law enforcement officers are dealing with are what we refer to as runners. This is extremely important. They are working with the alien smuggling organizations and the cartels. And when you see these big groups, like what we've been seeing the last few days, this is what's happening is they're pushing runners on both sides. And then from there, Sean, deadly fentanyl and methamphetamine. So I want to stress this again. If you are sitting in the north and you are saying, I'm glad I'm not on that southwest border, well, let me be very clear. When you are seeing these large groups, that's when the cartels send the drones to conduct surveillance. They send the runners like you're seeing that we've been chasing all morning. And then from there, deadly fentanyl and methamphetamine coming to the country. Back to you.
Advantage of.
You're essentially alluding to this, that this is the byproduct of unchecked immigration policies, albeit talking about Title 42, one of the ways, or one of the tools in the toolbox that can be used to stop those at the border coming over illegally. I know you've been trying to stop the termination of Title 42. The Biden administration has different thoughts on that. Here's their response, and I'll get your reaction.
We've been very clear. We have a multi-agency process. We believe we have a robust process to deal with what is going to occur after Title 42 lifts. Again, we're using the tools that are available to us because Congress refuses to do their job as it relates to the border. Again, a system that has been broken for decades.
So after Title 42 ends, does the president then want to go back to the border to see the situation for himself?
I don't have any trips to preview for you. As you know, the president has gone to the border more than once.
Which isn't true. I believe he's only been once. Either way, the Title 42, that public health policy, expires tomorrow. There is this expectation that the border will be overwhelmed. That also is from the president, who says it's going to be chaotic for a while. He's on record saying that. What are your expectations as, again, you deal with 3 of the 4 convicted here were illegal immigrants?
Well, the president himself said that there is going to be chaos at the border. You know, it's ironic because we're the ones, state AGs around this country, and I joined a number of my colleagues, to sue the administration to keep the policy in place because we knew it was effective. And now we are seeing we were right. The administration didn't want to keep this policy in place. We had to fight to make sure that they did. And yes, Congress should absolutely take this up. This is a good policy. It is the role of the federal government, one of the fundamental roles of the federal government, to defend our nation, immigration being one of them. And again, when the federal government fails in its job, it comes back to the states. In the previous segment that you just talked about, the end of Title 42, talked about the Texas public safety officials that were having to deal with folks coming across the border. We're having to deal with the effects of human trafficking in the state of Georgia. The states have to step up when the federal government doesn't do its job. But this policy, Title 42, clearly had an impact. And the end of it, as the president himself said, is going to lead to chaos at the border, and they're already seeing evidence of that right now.
All right. Again, 4 convicted in this Georgia sex trafficking case of a 15-year-old girl. 3 of the 4 illegal immigrants. We're talking. I know you have a 100% conviction rate when it comes to even human trafficking cases. So we'll see, obviously, how this one should play out here. That is Attorney General Chris Card joining us from Georgia. We appreciate that.